Good afternoon. My name is Jim Guzzi. Welcome to Gotham Sound TV. This is part of our interview series. And today we have a special guest, a close personal friend of mine since I think the early 90s. This is Frank Duca from NBC, audio man extraordinaire. Frank, say hello to the live studio
Hello.
audience.
Thank you, Jim. And the fact that you delivered that speech perfectly is a testament to your acting ability, and you did it very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. So Frank, we're going to start with when you started, which was roughly about the same time that I started in New York, correct? Was it 93 or 94?
Yeah, 94.
Why don't you take us through the early years for a few minutes?
The early years. I was coming out of a failed attempt at being a professional musician, which a lot of people in TV do.
I think, hold on a second, do we have? You didn't do it?
Couldn't find it.
My producer's an idiot, because we had a great shot of Frank with long flowing locks on our refrigerator, which I pointed out clearly.
I'm sure it'll find its way on here. It always
That's Joe
does.
Malika, our producer. He's not worth much.
I'm
Go ahead,
honored
Frank.
that it made the move, quite frankly. I'm honored that the shop made a move. But anyway, what happened was I was working as a musician for many years, tried really hard. We were playing like 80s style music, Cheap Trick, Journey type of thing. Got a couple of record deals, which never really worked out because grunge came out and all of that music just stopped. I opened up for a lot of bands, like Poison and Warrant at the time, and
You tried out for a
auditioned
pretty
for
famous
Kiss.
band, right?
So I gave it every possible attempt, and it just turned out after a while that wasn't going to happen. So I started to work, and a lot of the people working in the recording studios that I met and doing live gigs were migrating to television at the time. So one of the men that worked at Saturday Night Live, his name's Jay Vicari, great mixer in his own right. Everybody knows him in the industry. He and Tracy Dell worked together at the time, and they were mixing my record. They were mixing the demos, trying to help us out. Met Sean Pelton at the same time too, who's the drummer in the SNL band all the way back then. And they were looking for people to work in TV who had a background in music and audio and sound. And one thing led to another, and I just started working more and more like that.
And you started at Inside Edition, correct?
Yeah, the first job I got was working at Inside Edition as a PA, working with the field crew. Then I went from there to Extra, and I started to realize that how could I was making less money doing that than I was in the band, and I didn't think that was possible because you don't make any money as a musician. But I just kept bouncing from job to job, learning more and more from different people. And I was very, very fortunate and very lucky to hook up with really, really great technicians and sound mixers and people working at NBC, at SNL, and all the other shows at the Today Show at the time, at News, who I really, really am thankful to, who taught me a bunch of things over the years that allow me to not just work in one area of TV or film or sound, but I can pull a little bit from everybody and kind of be like a Swiss Army knife, which I think is really important now in the industry for a lot of people.
So now you are with Access Hollywood, correct?
I started working
But you also, if I could interject, you also do SNL every Saturday, correct?
I worked at SNL since '94, and there's roughly about, I don't know my notes, maybe like about 9 different sound jobs. So I've rotated through almost all of them over the years, and during that time, Access Hollywood came about, of which I am, I'm sort of like the head of the sound department on the East Coast.
So here's what I want to talk about a little bit, because I think people really want to know what live TV is about, and you do through Access as well as SNL Live TV, correct?
Yes.
Now that's got to be crazy hectic. It's got to be, you're under time constraints, you can't take a second cut. So why don't we talk first about the equipment that you utilize on your live shows through SNL as well as Access, and then we'll get into some of the fun stuff and the people and some of the stories that you have, which I know you have many.
Yeah, some of them are good. It's all. I'm sure everybody has good stories in what they're doing, but it keeps it
Not with
keeps it
famous
moving.
people, though.
Well, yeah,
People like
I guess
famous
not.
people.
Yeah, I guess not. All the great stories, everything that's happened to me in this industry, which is fantastic, basically by accident, just as a result of not being a musician. So SNL, everybody says it's the same group of people that always seem to work there. They may leave, they may come back, but live is its own beast. There's a saying there that we don't go on at 11:30 because we're ready. We go on at 11:30 because it's 11:30. So you just have no choice but to be ready for it. It's like being on an abandoned train going toward a bridge that's being built, but you don't know if it's going to be finished by the time you get there. You just have to prepare for it and know that last week it was built, so it should be built this week.
Right.
And you're just trying to figure out the best way to do it, and it always gets done, but it takes specific type of mental focus, being able to think very quickly, being able to be flexible under sometimes not the best circumstances, and there's many people that have to work under those circumstances, but right off the bat if you can do it or not, and it's tough. It's tough, but you do what you can.
So talk to us a little bit about the equipment you use for your live stuff, both on Access and SNL.
Well, at SNL, there's 5 different mix jobs. There's the music mix, which 2 people are in the room, Pro Tools and mixing the live music. There's the air mix, which is if you have a picture,
Bobby Palladino, right? You have a picture. I think we can pull that picture up.
Who's been mixing the show since 1983 or early 80s. And I was very fortunate enough to work with him very early on. He pulled me into the control room.
There it is there.
Yeah. And it's the funnel. We call it the funnel. Everything comes through that room out on air. And literally, it takes 2 people because you're reading a script. And as you're in that sketch, if you've seen the show, if you're watching it, while it's happening, 2 more pages. We're on page 3. On page 6, somebody's behind you rewriting the dialogue before you get there. So you're constantly getting new pages. They're moving. If there's A, B, C, D segments, they're taking B, moving it to the next break while the show's on the air. So the other saying is that a lot can happen in 30 seconds, so don't get set on one idea.
Right.
It's always moving, it's always changing. So you're keeping each other honest. You have people talking at you from every aspect, the director, the A2s. There's 2 music A2s on the floor, usually that work with the bands. And then there's 3 production A2s. There's 2 booms. It's a very, very dialogue-driven show. So at any moment, they can add dialogue, take it away. You may have to add a mic where you didn't have a mic before. The boom can't get there because they have to go all the way across the studio. And it's really wild to see, too, the way that it all works. It's like a well-oiled machine. And the PA is a Studer that we use for that. Bubba, I have a picture of Mike Solito and Louie. They mix the PA, and in the last couple of years, I've been trained to mix the PA. So I'm kind of like, again, a Swiss Army knife there. I'm back there on Saturdays, where if they need help with a band, I'm working with the band.
You go in what time on Saturday for a show?
It used to be when you're staff, you go in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you stay in a hotel, and you kind of like lose track of what's going on around you. You're just stuck in that mode, and that's the way that they like it. Not for any other reason other than to stay in the mode of what's happening, because that's what the writers do and the producers, and everybody's just there. And everybody works together. The wardrobe, the writers, the producers, everybody's always talking, because the only way that you can keep up with what's happening is by somebody being friendly with you and saying, oh, by the way, the jacket that you wired up 2 hours ago for this sketch, we're not using that one anymore. Now we're using a different one. And that happens all the time. So it's just being able to think on your feet and know that you have a plan, and know that that plan is not going to work. You have one chance during the dress rehearsal to try it. And if it doesn't work, or if it does work, they could change it and just have a plan B and C, so that when you're live, you know that you're going to be able to rely on everybody else around you to make the decision to just get it going.
So you go in, you have a special deal set up where you go in at noon on Saturday?
Well, not necessarily a special deal. It's my job at Access Hollywood is Monday through Friday. I handle all the gear, the regular shoots that come up, the live shots. Access Hollywood Live, which is a talk show with used to be Billy Bush and Kid Hoover. Now Natalie Morales is joining us this year, which is going to be great. I've worked with her for a long time at the Today Show. And in order to stay there, they made it available so that I can just come in on Saturdays and be that extra help. So if I mix the PA one weekend, if I'm working on music, production A2, running around with the talent, which I've done a long time, or working in the control room with Bobby Palladino again, if they need it. And doing that for so many years has really, really helped when live situations come up in the field for Access Hollywood. And when the live show started.
So you set up the whole stuff on out on the plaza. I think we have a picture of a lot of the racks that are out on the plaza, Jared.
The producers of Access Hollywood have been very generous, and I'm very lucky that they allow me to experiment and figure out different pieces of gear for what they're trying to do. It started out with just a mixer and some information, and over, I think, 10 years. Originally I called you and Peter and Nick and everybody at Gotham and said, I'm doing this new live show. It's not really field work and it's not really in the studio. So I need to try and combine the best of film equipment with a TV studio setup, but I have to be able to set it up sometimes in only 45 minutes. And this is comms, this is a full
fly packs,
8 channels of RF, 4 different IFB sends with 12 transmitters, receivers, R1As, so that everybody has what they're supposed to listen to, the IFBs for the talent, the producer IFBs that you would use on a film set. There needs to be communication, which on a film set you'll use more walkies, where for a TV show you're using Telos links, which are PL packs, so that we can talk to the control room back in Los Angeles. And the cameraman,
communication, wireless.
Yeah, yes. And all of that has to be pre-wired in racks, ready to go, so that when we pull up in Miami, or if they take the show to Vegas, or if they take the show to France, or wherever they decide to do the show on the road, we can do it we've done it as quickly as 40 minutes. Set the whole thing up and ready to go live. And again, it takes that type of person to be able to just wrap your head around all of that, what you just saw, all those cables.
And you use Electro Venue, right?
Yes, I love the venue system, which you recommended a while ago, because sometimes I don't know what blocks you can use. And I'm not necessarily, which other sound technicians know, you're not the first on the list. And you get someplace, like when we go to the Super Bowl, you'll ask for certain frequencies, and they may not be able to get back to you quick enough. So I will bring one of every block, or what I think they're going to let me use, and insert them when I get there when they tell me what the frequencies are, just so that extra peace of mind thinking ahead of the game, so that I'm not stuck and I only have 2 RFs when I need 8 to do the show. When they say you could only use this or that, or you're scanning and you just can't get a good available frequencies at the time.
So you've also worked with some interesting people, celebrities.
Like you.
Well, that goes without saying. But,
yes, many, many people.
And we were talking a little bit when we were having lunch and all those cocktails that you have to be like pretty chill. That the talent, they'll figure out within 30 seconds whether you're the guy for them or not? Whether they want to undress in front of you?
I don't like to sound like, I have the answers or my opinion is the right opinion or anything like that.
Come on, Frank.
I mean, everybody has their way of doing things, the way that they work, the way that they act, the way they do. But I found very, very early on, I was taught by a great guy, Bob Sazer, at NBC. It just happened to be him. He was there when, they figured out how to make SNL, when they were doing it originally. He said there's high-profile celebrities, high-profile politicians. They only want certain people around them, and you're in their personal space. So they're going to figure out for themselves within the first 5 seconds of meeting you whether they want you in that space. So your first impression is very, very big, how you carry yourself. When you speak, when you don't speak, because what's going on.
Where your eyes look?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're in an intimate area with them. You're in the dressing room, you're in their office, or you're in a trailer, and around them will be the producer, will be a publicist, will be a manager, will be a writer, will be, their friends, sometimes
Makeup.
even their kids, makeup, a
Costume.
stylist, and everybody's trying to get their attention. So the first thing is they don't need a friend, they need a mic. And you try and just blend in, and you try and make them easy. You try and I do anyway, I try to make it very simple, calm. If they want somebody to talk to, I'll joke with them. If they want quiet because what is going on, I'm seamless. I just consider myself like a doctor. I just go in, I assess what's going on. I have 3 different plans if I'm being the A2. I have 3 different plans of attack, carry a bunch of different microphones, and I'll explain back to the mixer, or if I'm not mixing, I will explain to the guys what to do, what to say, what they like. Talk to the stylist first, because chances are they're going to know before, the talent knows what they're going to wear, and it makes a big difference. You get asked back on a lot of shows. You kind of get a reputation of, well, I want you with this particular person. There are some shows where I'll get called for, Madonna may be on the show, and they don't even need me to set anything up. They just need somebody to be with her to make sure that when she's ready to go, there's a familiar face. And that could be anybody, but it just so happens sometimes I'll get called for that because they're familiar with you. They're calm. They know that I'll be the liaison between them and monitors or an air mix or whoever, so that I understand what to do with the gear, obviously, but it's a comfort thing. A lot of people, they're like that. A lot of celebrities are like that.
So we had an interesting story with Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. I think we have a picture on this, Jared, right?
We were doing a concert out at Jones Beach for Access Hollywood, big 2-camera interview, and we were walking around with them, and Motley Crue was playing with them also. So I was wearing a Motley Crue t-shirt, and he was giving me no end of guff because I wasn't wearing a Aerosmith t-shirt. So we're running around with him, we're going all over the place, we're doing the interview, we finish up, we take a picture. He said, you're gonna, I'm not gonna forget that you weren't wearing that t-shirt. And you may have some bad karma, he said, being funny. Right. So we go out, we're getting ready to shoot the show, and Motley Crue's on. So we're rushing to go shoot the beginning of Motley Crue, and we're behind the stage, and we see all these canisters, big canisters in front of us. And guys, security guards with these the big headsets, the noise-canceling headsets, and it's almost like in slow motion. We're running to shoot the beginning of the show. We hear the music start, and just as we get past these huge canisters, I'm thinking to myself, why are these guys wearing this headgear? And boom, we're right next to all the fireworks that go off. And Vince Neil comes running out and all that. So we just barely, if we would have ran straight through it all, not good.
Not good.
No, but it was,
the other
fun.
thing you worked on that I was jealous of and I wanted to go was the SNL 40th anniversary special.
Big
I think
show.
we have a picture of that as well. That was big show, right?
Very
and you had a
big.
specific way. How many? I think you had something like 40 plus mics.
That show I was out on the floor for that show as an A2 with Chris McKevitt, Trish Riley, Holly Robbins. It was 40. We had 48 lavs, and some of those lavs had triple duty. There's a picture of our rundown. We had to actually make a sheet and color code it.
There it is.
So that we knew which mic was going to who. And this show was like an Oscars of comedy. Everybody was there. There was Hollywood A-list everywhere. In the seats, in the hallways, Tom Cruise, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. There were basketball stars. I mean, everybody, anybody you can think of was there. So you're pushing through people just to get the job done. And this is all day for 3 days. Normally at SNL, you get a dress rehearsal to try and figure out what's going on, and then you do the live show. This, no dress rehearsal. Everything kept changing.
And it was live?
Live.
And who was the host?
There wasn't a host.
Steve
It
Martin
was just
opened
like
it, didn't he?
Steve Martin opened it.
Wasn't there a dressing
Marty
room
Short.
thing that you did?
Yeah, there's a lot that
happened?
went on that show. But
Steve Martin.
we really, if somebody ran across the set with their hair on fire, nobody would have even thought twice. Because you had so much to do. You were just so focused, because every time something changed, you had to keep up with it. I literally had like 6 mics to do in 2 minutes. And you're trying to get Adam Sandler, and he's talking to Norm Macdonald. You're trying to get, a Neil, somebody. You're trying to get everybody, and they're just chatting and hanging out. And you find yourself pushing George Lucas out of the way so that you can, nicely, just so that you can get done what you have to get done. And I'm waiting for Steve Martin. He's opening the show, and he's in the dressing room with Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. So I'm giving them room. I'm finishing what I need to do. I'm running back and forth. I don't have any more time. 30 seconds. He's opening the show. So I walk in. They're laughing. We're talking. I say, Steve, we got to get you going. And he's very gracious, great talent, wonderful Steve Martin. Everybody knows Steve Martin. He can't put his studs on his tuxedo. So
he's getting older, right?
Well, I mean, he's there, but you're not going to say that. But he's struggling to try and get it done. So I'm thinking, like, I got to get this moving, or else we're not going to make this. So Tom Hanks actually sees me, wanting to move in and do this, and he goes, help the guy out. Help him out. And Steve's like, okay, all right. So I actually go and I put the mics down. All the other mics I have to do also, I have his mic. I pick up the studs. I wanted to just take his hands and go, stop, just stop. Let me do it. I put the studs in his tuxedo shirt. I pick up the jacket because there wasn't any, no stylists in there at the moment. It was too quick. People were running around like with their, hair on fire. Put the jacket on him, get the mic on him because some of them were Hyde, some of them weren't, and get everything ready, get them going, and I get Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. They clap in the room, which is very surreal. Grab him and run him out. 15 seconds left. I'm walking him under, which we call the vomitorium, under SNL, which is like kind of under the bleachers. As I'm running him out to give him to the stage manager, we're going underneath Paul McCartney and you can call me Al. I forgot.
Al Yankovic?
No. Guitar player. Paul Simon. I'm sorry. Paul Simon. They're rehearsing what they're doing in 2 minutes. Their guitars. We're walking under their guitars as they're rehearsing, and I'm looking at them like, I can't believe this is happening. Let him go. And that whole night was like that. Everybody. There was just one person in charge of taking the microphone after it was on somebody, making sure it went in a pile so that when we ran back, you knew that this was going on Adam Sandler, or it was going on Joe Piscopo, or it was going on Eddie Murphy, he was really funny that night too. There was a lot of stories like that, but you don't want me to tell everything.
No. And we're just about out of time. I think it's about 2:30.
Talking too much.
Do you have anything else important you want to say? We got to play golf, right?
We definitely have to play
Get
golf.
my brother-in-law to get us out at Canoebrook maybe, or we'll go up to Weathersfield.
I'm happy to play golf with anybody who'll have me and call me back.
Should we do a wager now so we have witnesses? How many
Yes.
strokes am I given, first of all?
The wager will be that you're going to win because you've been playing longer than me, but I'm better than I was
play a
last
lot.
year.
That's
What else do you want me to say? Because I think I spoke to, I probably
No,
told
that was awesome.
too
I like
long.
that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Next time,
Thank you.
Tuesday, July 26th, we have sound FX recording techniques with Watson Wu. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, video archives of video and YouTube. Send any ideas you have to info@gothamsound.com. Jim Guzzi signing off. Thank you very much.